Okay, so I can see that we have a few people logged in already. So maybe we should start and then others can join us later. So welcome to the English language skills session. Today we'll be talking about speaking. My name is Anna Goltz and I'm the head of EAL department in London. So if you decide to join MPW, I'm sure we will meet at some point. So speaking, at some point I will ask you to speak because it's a speaking session. So you will unmute your microphone and give me your answers. First of all, why do we teach speaking? It's quite obvious when you move to London, you want to make friends. So you need to have the skills to have small talk, for example, and make friends and talk about yourself, etc. You also need English or speaking for classroom discussions and classroom presentations. And it all depends on what other A-level subjects or GCSE subjects you take. But sometimes there's a lot of writing in other subjects, a lot of essays, and sometimes there's a lot of speaking in the classroom, a lot of discussions, maybe in politics, for example. Or sometimes you will be asked to give presentations in English. You will definitely need English to live in the UK. So sometimes you have to go to the bank and deal with some everyday things. You'll have to do that in English, of course, too. And a very important thing that we prepare for during speaking lessons is your IELTS exam. So the exam that you will need to apply for a university later. And the way IELTS exam is structured is that it covers all the three things that I've just mentioned. So when you prepare for the speaking part of the IELTS exam, you prepare for making friends, so how to make small talk and discuss things you like, etc., how to participate in classroom discussions, how to give presentations, and how to have general conversations throughout your life in the UK. So your IELTS exam, preparing for your IELTS exam prepares you for everything else that you will need in your life here in London. IELTS speaking exam. Does anybody know? Can anybody tell me in the chat how many parts IELTS exam is divided into? Does anybody know how many parts the speaking exam has? Oksana says 4. I think I asked the question wrong at the beginning. IELTS exam has 4 parts: speaking, reading, listening, and writing. What about the speaking exam? How many parts does the speaking exam have? 3 parts, thank you, Sash. Yes, we have a few good answers, good. So it's part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 1 is the introduction and questions on familiar topics. So the examiner will just ask you very general questions about your hobbies, about movies you like, books you read, what you do at weekends, and just things that you talk about in everyday life. So this would be connected with what we mentioned before, making friends. These are the conversations that you would have on an everyday basis. Part 2 is the individual long turn. So you are given a pen and paper. You have 1 minute to take some notes and prepare your speech, and then you have to speak about a topic for 2 minutes. And this would be connected with the classroom presentations that you may be asked to give when you study in the UK. And part 3 is a two-way discussion. And here the examiner will ask you a few questions connected with the topic from part 2. These are more in depth, so you'll have to analyze something or express your opinions and justify your opinions. So here, this would be more like the classroom discussion that you could have when you study for A-levels or GCSEs. So this is how the exam is structured. And now from the examiner's perspective, what do you think write in the chat again. What do you think the examiner is looking at when they listen to you speak English? So what are the assessment criteria? If you know, try to write it in the box in the chat so we can check it and discuss later. Does anybody know what is the examiner listening to exactly when they listen to your English? Someone's typing. The grammar and your endless speak. That's very good. Vocabulary and grammar, very good answers. There's one more thing that is also very important. Okay, by endless speak, I guess you mean fluency, so how long you can speak. That's fluency and coherence, so how long you can speak on a topic, and how, or if what you say makes sense, basically. So that's fluency and coherence. If you stop after one sentence or give very short answers, your fluency is basically, your score for fluency is lower. Somebody also mentioned grammar, so grammatical range and accuracy, how many different grammar structures you use and how well you use them, so how correct your grammar is. Somebody mentioned vocabulary too, and that's very good. Lexical range and accuracy, so all the vocabulary you use. If you repeat the same words, that's not the best. If you use different synonyms, different ways to express the same thing, you get a higher score for vocabulary. And then one thing that nobody mentioned, I think, that is also quite important is pronunciation. So how easy you are to understand. If you have a very strong accent and you're very difficult to understand, your score would be a bit lower. But if you're quite easy to follow, your pronunciation score is much higher, of course. Today, we will focus on the lexical range and accuracy, so vocabulary. And because you're all from different parts of the world, it'll be great to hear about your hometowns. So before we get to vocabulary, I would like you to answer these questions. So I'll ask you to unmute your microphones, maybe one by one. Some of your names are written in Cyrillic, so I can't really read them. Is there anyone here who would like to answer the first question? Where is your hometown? How would you answer that? Maybe I should, maybe Oksana.
Hello, my hometown is Moscow.
Okay, and where is your hometown? How would you answer that question?
It's in Russia.
Is it in the west of Russia, east?
It's the central part of Russia.
Okay, and what is it like? What is Moscow like?
Moscow is huge and very busy. It's beautiful and very different.
Very different from what?
Different in everything, in culture, in architecture, in people living in Moscow. So very diverse.
What do you like most about your hometown?
It never sleeps. So I like it. I like that it is vibrant.
There's a lot to do. Is there anything you dislike about it?
a lot of transport, a lot of busy, and sometimes you feel uncomfortable about that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Are there a lot of traffic jams?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Has your hometown changed much since you were a child?
Yeah, it has grown. It has grown a lot. It is much bigger since the time I was small. So
Very good. This spread a lot more.
yeah.
Would you recommend your hometown to foreign travelers?
Yes, yes. There is much to see in Moscow. It's rich for its with museums and theaters and some culture points. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oksana, I think you need to give a little bit longer answers if you take the
Okay.
exam.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Oksana. Oksana, maybe you'll be able to help me. There is a name written here in Russian, and I have no idea how to read it.
My name is Ignat. Nice to meet you.
Math. Nice to meet you too. Sorry. Would
I
you?
live in Russia too, and my hometown is Perm. It's situated in the west part of our country, of my country. It's a small town, and it always sleep. It's not like
Always
Moscow.
sleep.
It's a province, yes.
Is there anything you dislike about it?
Maybe my town has a lack of cars and public transport. Yes, only this thing.
You dislike about your hometown that it has public transport?
No, my town has a lack of public transport.
Ah, okay. I see what you mean. There's no public transport. Has your hometown changed much since you were a child?
Not so much. I think that not such many things changed.
Would you recommend your hometown to foreign travelers?
Um, there is nothing to see for them, so no.
If somebody likes sleepy towns, we're
Yeah,
good.
I would recommend to travel to Moscow, not to France.
Okay,
Yes,
there's a lot more to do in Moscow.
definitely yes.
Okay, thank you. Maybe one more person. Sash? Sash, can you hear me? I don't know if Sash wants to talk to us. There's somebody here called Yarosh.
Yes, hello, miss. Nice to meet you. I'm Clement.
Nice to meet you. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Yeah, Yarosh is my surname.
Yarosh, okay. So tell us about your hometown, Yarosh.
Well, I come from Ukraine, and the city is Kiev. It's the capital city of Ukraine. It's, the city is located the center, in the center part of Ukraine. I think it was established long time ago, very long time ago. It's a very old and beautiful city with lots of heritages that people can visit, especially the tourists.
What do you like about the city?
What I like the people. The people are quite friendly there. They're also quite friendly, quite friendly and optimistic, I would say.
Is there anything you don't like about it?
Well, Ukraine is quite poor in terms of economy because of the war on the west. Oh no, on the east. Yeah, on the east.
Mm-hmm.
So, although it's a capital city, we did not get enough capital to fulfill um, citizens' needs and uh, to I don't know how to say it, renew basically uh, what has remained from the Soviet Union, such as infrastructure, transport,
to rebuild
to make them
everything.
more modern, basically.
Yeah. Would you recommend your hometown to foreign travelers?
Yes, I would, because uh, it's a very fabulous city with uh, lots of old and beautiful places the tourist can see. However, uh, only young population can speak English, so it would be quite problematic and difficult for the foreigner to basically to contact someone if they're not if they were not born uh, before if they were not born after the Soviet Union.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Um,
Thank you.
so we discussed these questions kind of without any preparation, and now let's look at some words, some vocabulary that we could use to describe cities. We have words and expressions on the left: bustling, cosmopolitan, rundown, quaint, etc., and their meanings on the right. Before we discuss them, I would like you to think about them individually and try to match them in pairs. I'll give you maybe 2 minutes and then we'll discuss them together. Okay, so you're probably ready. There are only 3 or 4 of you, so if you want to give me the answer, you can just unmute your phone and just say it. Who knows what bustling means, or which definition do you think should be linked with it? Does anybody know? Sorry, I have a cough today. Oksana, do you know bustling?
Yeah, bustling means, one moment, it is noisy, and here it is a place full of activity.
Very good.
Yeah.
So it's C. And Oksana, I asked you because you used before a very similar word. Can you think of any synonyms for bustling?
Bustling, busy, vibrant.
Very good. You used vibrant before, and that's a very good word too. Vibrant. What would be the opposite of bustling or vibrant?
Calm, quiet.
Very good. Calm, quiet, maybe
Steady.
even
Actually.
boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dull. Okay. Nat, what about cosmopolitan?
This word describes the city that is full of cultures.
So which of the definitions on the right would be the best for it?
Let it be D.
Very good, it's D. I guess that your hometown is not really cosmopolitan.
You're right.
Can you give us an example of a cosmopolitan city?
New York, Canada.
Very good. New York, bigger cities in Canada, yeah, like Toronto. Jarosz, what about rundown? Have you heard that before? Jarosz, can you hear me? I think he's gone. Oksana, do you know rundown? Oksana, are you there?
Here, I'm just thinking, because actually it's a new word for me.
Okay.
It means that something is getting smaller, so depressive, maybe, like depressive cities.
You're right that it's a negative word.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an adjective, definitely. It definitely doesn't mean that something is modern. It's the opposite.
So maybe G, weak or in bad condition.
Very good. So when a city is run down or a building is run down, it means nobody really takes care of it. It's old and in bad condition. Are there any places like that in Moscow, Oksana?
Yes, I think so. Some industrial zones where the plants are closed already. So yes, and nothing has been built so far.
I think every city has some parts or some streets that are quite run down. Could use some renovations. Thank you. And what about quaint? Nats? Know this
Sorry,
one?
but I have no idea what that word means.
Okay, I'll give you an example. So you cannot really use it for a big city. It's usually a small town and quite old, like maybe some old Italian town. You can say that it's quaint.
Okay, so it's E.
Very good. It's quite unusual and old-fashioned, but in a very good way. You can also say charming.
And could it be B? The
Not
description is
really.
similar for B.
So quaint is more about the atmosphere in the city and not where it is. So a quaint town can be close to a big town or big city, but it's more about what the city is like in the city. It's not the location of it. So
Okay.
remote and far away will be a different one.
Thank-
Jarosz, can you hear me now?
Yeah, sorry, I had troubles with my internet.
No worries. In the suburbs.
It's J.
It is J. Do you live in the suburbs?
No, I live more in the center of the city of Kiev.
Very good. Oksana, picturesque.
Yeah, picturesque is very beautiful, bright. So it's A.
Very good. It's a beautiful place. Can you give us an example of a picturesque place?
A picturesque place. I think that um, picturesque place. For example, in London, I think St. Paul's Cathedral is picturesque.
Yeah. Okay. You can use picturesque about some natural view. You can say scenic also. That's another synonym.
So nature view also. So
I think it's more about nature.
okay,
Or
Niagara, I guess, is very picturesque, so I haven't seen it.
yeah, very good. Gnat, pace of life. Gnat, can you hear me?
Yes, sorry.
That's
It's I.
it is I. You can have a slow pace of life or fast pace of life. What is the pace of life like in your hometown?
Um, uh, Let it be just slow.
Yeah,
It's
in a
for one
small
word.
town, the pace of life is usually quite slow. Yeah. London, it's usually quite fast. People are running somewhere all the time. Jarosz, country dwellers?
I think it's F from the word countryside.
Very good. Yeah, it's people who live in the countryside. What about people who live in the city? How would you call them? Any ideas?
I don't
If
know,
people,
town dwellers.
oh, close. So if people who live in the countryside are country dwellers, people who live in the city are city dwellers. And we have two more left. Oksana, an abundance of?
It is when it is plenty of something or much of something, so it is H.
Well done, yeah. So you can have an abundance of pubs in London, an abundance of tourist attractions in Moscow, etc. And Gnat, far flung.
Remote and far away.
So this word is better for reward, or this expression, remote. Far flung is about the location, and quaint is about the atmosphere in the city or town. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about these words? Okay, if you don't have any questions, now let's try to. Oh, here are the answers. Let's try to answer these questions from task 2. But let's try to use the vocabulary that we just discussed. So, give me a second. I'll try to give these or put these words on the same page so you can take a look at them. Here. You have the speaking part 2 question here. Describe your hometown. You should describe the place, say what it is special about, say what it is known for, and compare it to other cities in the world. Try to use as many of these words that we just discussed, these words or expressions, in your answer. Try to speak for as long as you can, and when the 2-minute time limit is up, I will let you know. I'll set the timer. I'll give you a minute to prepare first. Oh, Sash is sending us answers. I hope you can hear us, Sash. Okay, so I'll give you 1 minute to prepare now. And then I'll ask you to give me your answers. Okay, so your preparation time is up. I think we have a new person in the meeting. Selim, can you hear me? Maybe not. Sash, can you hear me now? Or is your microphone working? How's your connection? Okay, I think we're left with the 3 of you guys. Jarosz, are you ready with your answer?
Yes.
Okay, try. You have 2 minutes to discuss the topic. I will tell you when the time is up. You can start now.
Okay, so my hometown is Kiev. It's the capital city of Ukraine. The population of Kiev is around 3 million people, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. I'm not sure. So the city is quite big. It's not as big as Moscow, London, New York, or Beijing, but it's still relatively huge. It's very picturesque, but we have some parts of the city that are quaint. Oh no, that are run down. Sorry. However, I think Kiev is a part of UNESCO, so we have some places that are quaint, very old-fashioned, such as heritages, or just beautiful alleys that you can that you can that you can visit, or parks. What's special about it is that it's a very old city. It was established before No, it was established, I don't know, 700 years ago, or maybe even more. So the history of the city is quite fascinating and, and fabulous. It is mostly known for the Euro 2012 that it took. Euro 2012.
Thank you. The time is up.
Okay.
Very good use of the vocabulary. So you would get a pretty high score for vocabulary here. I have a few comments. Let me just open a Word file so I can write them down. You mispronounced this word, and I know it's quite new, and we didn't have much time to practice the pronunciation, but it's picturesque. Can you repeat it for me?
Yeah, picturesque. I think I said picturistic or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you said something, another ending. So remember about the pronunciation of it. You also said this sentence, and I would like you to try to find the mistake. I have some places that are quaint.
Places.
Mm-hmm. It's a very small mistake, very simple. It's just a plural S. But make sure you remember about details like that. We have some places that are quaint.
I will.
And you also said very old city, which is good English. Can you think of any better ways to say that? Very old? Any
I
other
was
words?
trying to think about it, but about the word that would be more rare or something like that, but I couldn't think of any. I forgot.
Maybe ancient.
Very good, Oksana. Ancient city. So very old is good English, but ancient is much better, much more advanced. But generally, good job, Jarosz. Well done.
Thank
Very fluent, good grammar, very few mistakes. Just a few small things. Gnat, would you like to go next?
Okay.
You seem tired.
My city is kinda run down, quiet city with a slow pace of life. Although it has more trees, plants, etc., neither in other cities. That could be better in other points. Uh, mm, I love Perm because of its dwellers. Um, Also, it's not far flung from Yekaterinburg city that is quite bustling. So if I will ever have a will, I could change a location and an atmosphere with it. Um, my city is known for its salt factories, um, and if you want to know something more about it, you could read it in about history books. Um, mm, I suppose that's the end of my speech.
Can you describe the I don't know, the city center a little bit more? What you like about the place, what you don't like about it?
Um,
Okay, don't worry about it. You mentioned that the city has salt factories.
yes.
Um, is it actually a factory or is it a place where you dig the salt out from underground?
Now it's factories, but many times ago it was like mines.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. You could also mention that in your speech, because I think you were speaking for a little bit over a minute, so you had a lot more time to speak. So you could mention that in the past they used to be salt mines, but now they're only salt factories. So you get more points for using the word mines because it's not a very common word, but you know it, so you can just brag about it. And I also didn't really get the part where you were comparing it to other cities. You said that your city has more plans than other cities.
Yes, it's a green city.
And you used the word.
St. Petersburg. It's kind of unique.
Okay, so it has more green areas. Okay, that part of what you were saying was a little bit difficult to understand. But generally good vocabulary. But you could think of maybe a few more ideas how to describe your city. If you don't know how to describe it, you could describe what you would like the city to look like. Or what you think the city will look like in 20 years, how you think it will change. Just say anything connected with the city, basically. If you have no more ideas, just continue talking.
Okay.
Thank you. And we don't have much time left, so Oksana, you're the last one.
Yeah, so Moscow, I live in Moscow. Moscow is the capital of Russia. It is situated in the central part of Russia. The city is very big and bustling. It is such big and far-flung that it can take you an hour to get from the suburbs to the center of the city. And the pace of life in the city is very fast. There is a lot of transport. There are a lot of people who are in a hurry going to their works, and this city, therefore, this city never rests. You can feel that it is quiet only late in the evening and in the suburbs. And Moscow has abundance of attractions. There are a lot of historic monuments, architectural sites, museums, and theaters you can visit. And that's all, maybe? Oh, it's too short, yeah?
Try to describe one of the attractions, maybe.
Yes, my favorite place in Moscow is Quiet Central. It is a quaint place of the city because there are old buildings from the 18th century over there, and these houses and gardens between them and parks are very picturesque, and you can really relax there.
Okay, thank you. It was only 15 seconds short, so not too bad. Also, very good, very fluent. You're all very fluent. One thing that you said, you said that people were going to their works in Moscow. You said that there's
workplaces. I mean, yeah, I knew that it is a mistake. Workplaces or job places.
Workplaces. Yeah, going to their workplaces.
Yeah.
Why is works incorrect?
Because work doesn't have any plural.
Very good. It's uncountable, so it's always singular work. You can say jobs, but not works. Workplaces is correct, so very good. And you also said Moscow has abundance of attractions. Just please remember that there is this article here, an abundance of attractions. Okay?
Yeah.
So again, very small mistakes. Okay, so you were all using the new vocabulary, the more advanced vocabulary. So your score in vocabulary would be a little bit higher. Does anybody have any questions about today, about IELTS, or about lessons in MPW in general?
I just wanted to know, and the lessons of speaking, they are mostly they're dedicated to one topic during the lessons, for example, in your school, or it's always different?
Mostly, yes. So we're following a book, and every unit in a book is devoted to a different topic. So if there's a topic about, I don't know, the environment, you will be doing some reading about the environment, listening about the environment, writing about the environment, and speaking. So it's a pretty common topic during the exam, on IELTS exam. So you cover all 4 skills about this topic. You cover vocabulary connected with it. You know how to discuss it, and then you just continue to another topic. So usually speaking lessons will be devoted to a certain topic, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, well, if there are no more questions, then thank you very much. It was a pleasure to meet you. I'm really sorry that the 2 people that joined didn't participate. Maybe there were some connection issues. I hope you could hear us. And I hope I'll be able to see you in London in September. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.